Looks like everything's working. Yeah, everything is working cool. Welcome to the stream. If you're tuning in, hanging out, just gonna don't have like a ton of time today to do some streaming, but I got some. So we're gonna go through at least one little figure drawing here. So let's get going. Be digital this time. Um, yeah. So references again come from the Juke Pub Stock, which is a killer place to get some free references for your personal and or commercial use, which is nice. I'm gonna try sort of a difficult one to start with. It's a seated pose, but it's like low angle. So the horizon line's like just above the ankle, so really down low. So we got to remind ourselves that we're like massively looking up here. So I'm kind of give myself a little reminder where that horizon is, or could be. We haven't placed the figure yet, so we don't even know if that's going to be correct. All right, so we're going to start with a leg here. And measuring it out, sighting it, it's like the leg going from the knee down is actually more than half the height of the figure. So what we want to do is start with, very, very simple shapes to begin with. Um, One of the things that kind of blew my mind recently, or I say recently, this is about 4 or 5 years ago, was just watching some of my friends and teachers um, do this stuff, and they were starting with like these really, really basic shapes, and it was kind of mind-boggling how they could get these simple shapes to look cool. And I could not do it for the longest time. It took a long time to figure out like how to get like really, really basic shapes looking good. These, in fact, are probably too sophisticated, but chair is going to go right here. So the chair is going to actually kind of interrupt a lot. I'm going to draw through the form because it doesn't really matter at this point. This is just the this is just the layout layer. We're going to go back basically and just redo everything. So from my perspective, it's kind of fine to just draw through forms and let stuff kind of be a little bit funky for right now. Other leg's going to go here, more in silhouette, and then come down like that. Pants are going to go this way, leg is going to go more this way. Um, yeah, and if you're tuning in, thanks for hanging out. If you're watching later, thanks for watching later. It's really good to have um, a lot of people watching the stream lately. It's been really nice. What's cool about it is like I can tell from all this analytics data that people are watching the entire thing a lot of times. Like the amount of time people spend watching is really cool. It's a lot. Um, which means I guess at least a few people are getting something out of it. Actually, this got a little squat, so I think what I need to do is take this layer, transform it, um, and actually um, make it a little bit longer, like that, so that we don't change the width relationships, but we change the height relationships of everything. And then the torso is basically just coming forward like this. And then we're going to get kind of an extreme angle to the shoulders. And then the neck is going to go right here. It's going to dip down a lot. So we're actually seeing kind of the top of the torso here in a big way. And then we're going to get the shoulders out here. Actually, this is kind of cool because we get this like overlapping shape thing. So we get one shape that comes down to the elbow like this, all the way down like that, and then this shape comes up and overlaps that. Then the hand is going to go here. We'll do a little placeholder hand. The neck, I always like to basically take this center line and run that up to the sternocleidomastoid. I think we're going to have to transform this whole thing smaller too, so we can actually fit it on the page. We need to go simpler with the head. Just to get it placed properly. We need the eyes to go up really high here. We're going to basically look up into the nose. Something kind of like that. Here, the other arm is coming down like this. Really, this is coming very much at us, overlapping the front of the knee here. And then this hand is holding a glass. So what we need to do is get the glass going here. And have the thumb and fingers kind of come around it. Like that. And then we need to actually move this down a little bit. Our horizon's more like right there. Or at least our eye level. So now what we do is basically just turn this thing down to 20% opacity and do a decent drawing on top of it, because we've got the armature now. Cool. And if you have questions, feel free to chat and hang out in the chat a little bit. I believe the chat manager thing that I have is working pretty well. Did a little test of it before. Anyway, let's keep going. Let's see. Head is always a critical area, so I might need to do like kind of a separate drawing of the head. Also, now that I'm here, I want to do a go ahead and get a smaller brush. What I'm thinking here is we want to get to the keystone, which kind of defines where the eyebrows are, and the bridge of the nose, so that we can get the nose in properly. This may take a couple of times to get right. What I like about this reference is that it does have kind of harsh lighting too. So if we do this right, we can get some really dramatic lighting going as well. That's kind of right. I don't really love it, so we'll redo it. This is why I kind of start with the head a lot of times, um, just because it's really important to get the head correct. One of the other things that we might do is like draw it big and on this layer and then put it in there. One of the things that can be useful sometimes is when you're working digitally to draw things like off to the side on a larger scale. I think one of the other interesting things too is or one of the other things is these up shots where you're looking up tend to be really, really difficult to pull off. Um, because they're something you don't encounter as much, so they're not something that you practice all the time, which is like why I'm kind of working on this today because it is like sort of uncomfortable, right? But we'll get there. Might even sketch in some value here just to kind of get this going. Here we go. I think that's a little bit better than what we had. So what we can do basically is just like transform this and move it into place where we need it. Um, this is a trick that I actually picked up from watching some Craig Mullins painting videos. Because what he'll do is he'll paint something really kind of tricky and then just like a window or something and then just move it into place. It was kind of cool because it's like, oh, like you're actually doing a lot of things to make this easier on yourself too. Like you're not just, you know, doing these insanely difficult things and pulling them off. easily, you know? Now, I don't think that was the right scale and size that we wanted. We might need to blow it up a little more. Although it's close, this does change the direction that this figure is looking and the angle of the head. I guess it's like now the figure is kind of like more looking inward. We'll see what happens. We'll go with it for now and see if it's something that we like in the end here. And we're in a tie here. So we gotta add that in, add in the clothes. I think we'll add the one of the arms in as like sort of a front layer here. Cool, looks like we got some people just joining in. How's it going? Hope your evening is going well. Hope your weekend's awesome and that you had a good week. Sketch in there. I think we might actually need to take our sketch layer and turn the opacity down even more like to 10. Um, Starting to get a little distracting. We're gonna add in the arm on another layer, so we're kind of doing this method where we will draw the layers that are behind lower down in the layer stack. And then we can go through at any point and sort of like add them back in. Or we can go through and add layers on top. So I think what we'll do here is we'll add the legs on a top layer here, and then we'll add the arms in too on an upper layer. We'll include this chair in with the legs. So what's kind of nice sometimes is you get a little seam or like something on the front of the pants, or a little it can be like a crease depending on it, or like a seam, or well, I guess you get seams more on the sides, but like you can get like a little fold that pokes out, and what that does is this actually gives you like a cool little center line, kind of comes from the center of the shin and down. And that, to me, that helps a lot in helping figure out like how all the stuff overlaps. We're gonna have to change the tie a little bit because it kind of like comes down and the point of it sort of intersects right there, which is like really awkward. We need it to like overlap even more. I think the tie is probably relatively longer. We're gonna come down into the foot now and actually pay more attention to the ankle here. We're gonna have to move the foot just a little bit to make it make sense. So we're gonna bring it down more like this here. And then our ankle's low right here. And if our ankle is there, the shoe comes in under the ankle, like right here. And then we fortunately have laces on the shoe. Whenever you have laces on the shoe, it's pretty convenient um, because those laces, you can actually kind of curl them, and then that can help you get more dimension out of the shoe. So here we curl in, down, this way. I think for me it's like heads, hands, and feet. Um, that if you can kind of pull off heads, hands, and feet, things go okay. And if we have to redo this like 8 times, we'll redo this 8 times. Okay. I think for me, um, it's not kind of like, not necessarily about pulling things off the first time. It's more about like, do we get the result we want in the end, even if it like takes a hot minute or takes a while. Um, don't really see those overlaps because this reference is so dark, but we're gonna put them there anyway, just because we know they should be there. Just like we know we need an ankle, so we can put it in here. There we go. Again, I kind of want to keep this like relatively simple. I don't want to do anything um, too fancy with the sketch. At least until we're pretty sure like everything's kind of working, which I don't know. Still not there yet. Still kind of like through getting everything loosely established. And then if we decide that everything's working out, then we can go ahead and get more sophisticated with it. Put in the rest of the stuff. Need some laces to go through here. just to sort of complicate things and give us a little more there. Um, I still think I'm going to redo the head again. I don't like it. That's okay. I think now we need to add in, or actually, I think what I want to do is go back to this torso and then add in the far bit of the arm here, and then that'll leave us a good place where we can, we're in good shape as far as overlaps go. And this is a warm-up sketch too. So sometimes the warm-up sketches work out, sometimes they don't. Here what we need to do to get this back arm going is probably go uh, overlap it from, uh, we need to go basically from what's in front and draw backwards in space. So we're going to find stuff like our fingers here. One of the coolest tricks you can do with fingers is you can, if they're grabbing something, what you do is you kind of take the direction that they're going and kind of put them all coming in together. And then when you do that, it really feels like they're really grabbing something. Here on the bottom of the cup, which is right here, what we'll do is we'll put the pinky down under it. Because a lot of people do that, like grab with 3 fingers and the pinky supports the bottom. The edge of the cup goes up like this. Get a little bit of an ellipse there. And then we need to make room for and put the thumb in there. And then we can kind of quickly like knock in where we'd find fingernails here. Then the hand would go here. We'd see the palm through there, but I think mostly we just kind of see like a dark liquid. So we don't necessarily get all of that detail in there that we would normally see if we're just drawing a hand, not grabbing something. What we'll do now is kind of zoom out and see if we like it. Yeah, still don't like the head. Head's bad. Then what we'll do is, since these arms don't really overlap each other, we'll go ahead and draw the next arm in. And then we got a lot of these lines that are kind of being a little bit of a disaster, right? But that's okay. Because these are all overlapping, it's not a big deal. We're going to basically um, put some value layers sort of behind them. And here, fingers kind of bend here. And in classic film style, holding a cigarette, a little bit of smoke coming up. There we go. We're going to redo the head and I think probably insert some layers under here. So what we can do is quickly, um, under this arm layer, we can go ahead and blank out what's under here. So we don't get distracted as much. Um, then we might need to make a little change in refinement here. Yeah. There, that's better. Then we need to go back under this arm too. Make sure that we clear up anything that's behind it. And then we can do that with the other layers too. Nothing's on this layer, so we're just gonna delete that layer. And then here, under the legs, we need to do the same thing. We just need to block out a little bit. There we go. That's kind of working out a little bit better. And then we just need to redraw the head, which I think is layer 3 here. So we're going to turn that off and just go ahead and redraw the head one more time. I like the original angle a little more. I just think we need to like draw it better. That's all. At this point, I would probably want to, if I were working differently, I would probably upscale this if it's not a sketch. Um, I know our ear needs to go right here. But I think one of the things that kind of got a little off is how far the eye got away from the ear. I think this is one of the things like that I always like trying to pay attention to is making sure that the distance from the ear to the eye doesn't get too big. I think that's a really common one. To have happen. And these eyebrows kind of wrap around. There we go. All right. Let's see here. I think that's a little bit better. I still don't like this far eye. I think it got a little too high there. One of the um, one of the funky things about this is like because we're working on a small form on what's essentially like a relatively low resolution file, it's really hard to get these established in the correct place. We also need to turn off our sketch layer now because it is really starting to affect the read of the upper layer. All right, I think that's pretty okay as far as like just kind of getting everything established. Probably need to come back to the hand layer, whichever one that was, this one, and actually finish out fingers here just to kind of get that going. We'll zoom out slightly again. Yeah, there we go. I think one of the things we need to do again that was in the original sketch layer, but we might need more of, is just the idea that there's a background here coming back through, and that things are like kind of going in perspective a little bit. So we add like a little grid here, or like the hint of a grid, ground this gesture out. And then I think from here we would go kind of do a finish. And this time I think we can just do some simple cross-hatching um, to sort of finish this. And we can make some adaptations to like lengthen out the tie and everything. Like the tie needs to come down here. The tie is pretty dark. So by just kind of redrawing it or drawing right over it, it can work out okay. Here's the chance too that we can like re-observe everything and make any critical changes that we need to make. And if we don't like the hatch layer, we can just get rid of it. I think that's like been the funnest thing for me about drawing digitally the past while is that like anytime I don't like something, I can either transform it, hide it, delete it completely, and if I hate the whole thing, it can just be gone, you know? But what's cool is there's so many opportunities to like make corrections in ways that, you know, you just can't in analog stuff. as we do this too, we're going to want to probably take care of some more line weight stuff and be sure that we're taking care of the contour line. This we need to do a little gradient here as we get some light spilling on this. It can be sort of flat, doesn't really matter on this shape. That can be sort of fun. And then here, um, we want to get a little bit of the shadow core running kind of like right here. We are getting kind of top left light, so we want to see a shadow core right here. And then here, this is going to be one of our darkest sections because like basically no light is getting right there. And then we're going to crosshatch this, I think, because we need to describe form in like two directions, basically. Just because we need to also describe form going this way. On the chair, we need some value too. Make sure that's dark enough. One second. Oh, cool. Oh, Sasman's here. Yeah, I can't see your message. It's, um, yeah. Um, for some reason, sometimes I have like a little chat manager for the stream, and sometimes it syncs everything up, and sometimes it does not. It can be quite temperamental. I did a test of it before, and it worked fine, but now apparently it's not working. So maybe I'll have to like individually check out the chat streams in like Twitch and YouTube here. Open up a couple browser windows just to monitor. or use the little Twitch studio thing. Yeah, cool. There we go. Yeah, I'll be sure to check everything at this point. I'll just close that. There. All right. We're getting there. I'm still working on the technical aspects of streaming lately. There's a lot that goes into it. I'm still learning. I'm also continuing to work on courses because I want to create some full-on course material that go into more depth than I can do actually even in my college courses that I teach. Um, because I'm finding that I just don't get the chance to really go into the amount of depth that I want to with students. And I want to get all of that information out there, you know? Like really kind of and really make some I think what the difference is I don't want to just like teach how to do something. I like want to show people how this stuff works, like and how things connect to each other. Because I think what can happen sometimes is like you learn a bunch of stuff, but you don't really like understand like how the techniques connect to each other, um, which is sort of problematic. So I want to basically like create some resources to help people with that, and to the other big thing is I want to create like self-checking guides so that you know how to like critique your own work and how to problem solve a little more. There's some dark suspenders here that wrap around like that. And then we need the suspenders over here too. We need them actually to like cut in here, create like a slightly different silhouette there. This is a complex area of overlap with the tie, the hand, and everything. So I think we need to like clean up the contours here. It's getting a little dirty. And then let's see here. We need to get the arm with some shadow on it just to get that blocked in. And then we need plenty of shadow under here. Need like a good line there. We need a good heavy line on the knee. That'll allow us to create a little value differential there. And then this is going to be pretty dark down here. This is kind of where our pants are going here. This is pretty much going to be like full black right here. Darker even than the tie. Need to get some value there. Kind of push this backwards. And then we need to push this area backwards too. All right, cool. Maybe one quick pass at the hand here. I think I might have to revisit the hand at a later time. All right. Gonna have to call it there, end the stream. Don't forget to check out more. I'll be streaming as many days as possible and adding some more videos, courses, and everything coming up soon. I have some errands to run and some things to do tonight, but appreciate you tuning in, and I'll catch you next time. If you have anything you want to see, feel free to shoot me a message, leave a comment, whatever you want to do. Again, we'll keep sketching later.